Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another video for my not perfect Zen channel. I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be sharing Zentangle with you. I've been working on the Mosaic, and it's simply a tile like this that has a classic Z string. And before I started those first videos, I did a couple of tiles so that I could show you how it was going to look. And I had a question recently about the first two tiles that I did because I didn't show a video for those. And that would be these two tiles. This one is Msst, M-S-S-T, that's by Zentangle. This one is Bales, also one of the classic Zentangle patterns. This one is Printemps, also classic Zentangle, and Shattuck. And so I was asked if that person had missed those videos. And since I didn't do those, I thought I would show you those patterns, but I'm not going to do two more of these tiles. Instead, I have been wanting to do this Dreamcatcher ever since I saw it on the last Zentangle project pack, and I think that's project pack 17. And that pack had 3 Z tiles in it, but if you didn't buy the project pack, Maria showed at the end of that video, and I will provide a link to it, she showed how to do this Dreamcatcher. And this is a 12 by 12 piece of tile that I cut from paper that I bought. And I do it that size because I'm hoping to actually frame it in a simple frame from Michael's when I'm finished. And so my thought was, why not take the patterns that I'm showing on the mosaics and put them in here? And that would be a way to show you how to do those patterns at the same time. So let's just pick this one. And this is the original way. If you look at the original newsletters for Zentangle, they show Shattuck with straight lines. And so that's the way I'm going to do it. So let's zoom in and just pick one of these spots. I think I'll go with this one. So I'm just going to make a line, and I'm going to R that line. And do that again. And again. And like I was saying, if you look at my little card here, you can do it curved, okay, or you can do it straight. I'm going to do it straight. And so I have almost a triangle pattern here. So I'm just going to start it this way. And it's going to be interesting turning this opus size tile, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to add auras until I get to the end of that. And then I'm going to turn and put my next line. I'm going to R that. I'll try not to turn this tile so much. Okay. So the easiest way for me to do this is to just do another line that makes another triangle. And normally I would turn my tile so that my pen is facing that first line as I R it. But I don't want to make you dizzy with turning this tile constantly. Here's another line. Shattuck is another pattern for me that is easy to remember. And so when I just want to do some meditative time without worrying about a very detailed pattern, this is an easy one to do. And then this one would come up like that. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's kind of hard to keep this tile under the camera. Okay, so I'm going to go here and put another triangle. I am using a micron PN. And I'm going to do this one just like the mosaic tiles. I'm only going to use a black pen and my graphite pencil and a blending stump. So this will be easy to follow. Again, these would be going in this direction. Gone off again, sorry. Okay, not gonna worry about that one. All right, let's start again here. I really enjoyed making this Dreamcatcher. You can follow Maria's video. She does a great job showing how to do it freehand. The only thing I used was Circle Maker right here in the center to get that done, and the rest was freehand. Okay. And I will leave a link to the videos for Maria showing this and to the step out for doing the Dream Weaver pattern, or Dreamcatcher, I'm sorry. Okay. So for shading this, I like to take my graphite pencil and put a little bit of shading just inside each of these. This is actually cold pressed watercolor paper. It has a lot of texture on it, which I think I would prefer a little less texture, but that happened to be the paper that I had. So that's what I went with. Excuse me. Okay, so now where these lines meet, I'm going to put some shading. And I'm just getting all these that are going in the same direction. And then I'm going to turn it and do the ones that are coming this way. A little bit of shading along this one. So it ends up giving the impression like these are going under the other lines. Okay. Have my blending stump. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of shading across here. And then I'm just going to softly blend those. You can go in little circles or whatever works best for you. And so we're just going along where I put the graphite and softening that. Okay, so there we have Printemps. I'm sorry, Shattuck. S-H-A-T-T-U-C-K, Shattuck. Right, so that was for that one. And I think I had a little bit less shading on that. If you happen to have a kneaded eraser, not a lot darker than I expected it to, you can just very lightly go over this to pick up some of that graphite. And then go back and smooth it again. And I'm grateful for that tip from my friend Annie Reiser. She has the Zentangle.net YouTube channel. I love her videos. Hers are a lot more detailed than mine, but I love what she does. And she's a certified Zentangle teacher and a certified botanical artist. Just really cool. All right. Yeah, that's better. That was way too much graphite. Okay. So the other one that was with that tile is weighted Printemps. So for that one, again, I'm going to use micron. This is an 01. And I'm just going to start here in the center and make my spiral. And I'm going to go ahead and let it touch. I'm actually going to switch over to my PN because that micron doesn't seem to be doing well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make this come back in a little bit. And I'm going to add some weighting on that side. And I try to smooth it down evenly, but it rarely works exactly right. And then on that same side, I'm going to add a little bit of weight on that line. And then same thing on this side. Just make it a little bit thicker. And then try to get it to go evenly down to a thinner point. Okay, I'm being too picky. So I'm going to go next to that. Sorry, I'm struggling with this really big tile. Okay, so I'm going to do another Printemps here. And it's going to go a little bit behind that one, a little bit behind there. And I'm not trying to keep them an exact same size. So now let's add some weighting. Okay, and I'm keeping them all on the same side as far as the weighting. Okay, let's start down here. That one's going to go behind. Just going to pretend it's coming around like this. Behind that. So that would come around about there. And behind. And then we'll just leave it. Add some weighting. And you're not seeing much of that one, so we'll just add some heaviness right there. Let's go up here. So just pick your next open spot. This one's a little bit smaller. Okay. It adds more interest if you don't make everything exactly the same. Okay, again, that one's going behind. Let's go here. It's going behind, behind. And this way. And some weighting. And where you have an opening like this, I'm just going to go ahead and add another weighted line here to look like it came off of that one. Okay. Moving down. Okay. Add your weighting. This one would start to get thick there. Add another one here. This is a big one. Do whatever size feels comfortable to you. Practice on scratch paper. I do that a lot when I find a new pattern. I will practice on scrap paper first. Let's just go down here. Oops, sorry. Add another start to one here. Add my weighting. And we'll have this one come around a couple of times. Put our next one. And then add the weighting. This is another one that once you figure it out, it's easy to remember. And I'm trying to start my swirl at about the same place. So that when I come around, I can add the weighting in the same place each time. Okay. One more. Okay. So there we go. Not perfect, but that's what I do, is not perfect. All right, so for the shading on this one, whenever you have one of these patterns that's going over another one, we're going to add a little bit of shading on those edges. And this one is the first one we did, so it's definitely on top. Printemps is one of those that I've really never known how to shade it right. I'll be the first to admit. But when you have one on top of the other, then that's easy to just add the shading where that happens. I'm going to add shading around my edge. Okay. Next time I do this, I have to clear my desk a little bit better so I can turn this tile. And then we're just going to take our blending stuff and go in and soften it. This graphite pencil seems to be darker than most that I've had, or maybe it's because of this watercolor paper, the texture that's on it. It's making it seem darker. Okay, the other two that I did were Bales and Msst. And I saw Maria do it like this. The usual Msst pattern is just little wavy lines coming down with dots. Okay. And in one of her recent videos, and I'll try to find the link to it, she did it similar to Diva Dance, where she just went in like this and added a little bit of weighting. And I thought that looked really pretty. So let's add that one right here below Shattuck. And I'm just going to start with, and actually I'm going to switch to my 01 so I can make the lines a little bit thinner. And I'm just going to make a curvy line. And as it comes down, I'm going to add a few dots. And then I'm going to go back to just a couple of places and add a little bit of weighting. Okay, and then next you just kind of follow that line. And they don't have to be the same length. They should be varied a little. And then I'm going to add some weighting. And then just continue like that. And bring this one down a little bit more. Think of it kind of like a waterfall. And it's not always going to be exactly the same. To make a couple of these a little bit thicker right up here at the top, like they're attaching. Okay, I'm going to come back over to this side. My pen isn't doing very well. Remember to breathe, relax your shoulders, just enjoy what you're doing. And I do worry sometimes that my work doesn't look the best when I'm trying to do this around a camera, but again, don't worry about anything looking perfect. When you get all this together, it's awesome. It's the method that's most important. And the nice thing about Zentangle is how much it helps you to relax. Okay. Let's do a short one here. And this one, I think I would just add a little bit of shading right here along the top. And then just softly pull that down a little bit. And then the last one is Bales. So that one's just a simple grid. Okay, I'm going to start the grid in this direction. With just a little bit of a curve to it, since this has a slight curve. Okay. And then I'm going to come back around this way. Sorry. We're just adding the grid. And then Bales is simply adding these little petals or rice shapes on each side of your line. Okay, just on one side of this one. And then I'm going to turn it back in the other direction. Bales is also one of the first patterns that's taught in Zentangle for introductory type classes, and that's because it's easy and it shows you the grid. Okay, so I was looking for this tile. What I did next was I added hatching at the intersections of each of these, and it just helps to emphasize that pattern that you get. I like having that darker drama there in the center. And I do want to say again that I appreciate the comments and the questions and suggestions that I get. I was going to do this Dreamcatcher anyway, and then when I was asked about those first tiles, I thought, well, that would be a great way to start this Dreamcatcher and show you how I did those patterns. You don't have to do this in the centers. This is just one of my preferences. You can just use the graphite to emphasize the centers. If you look on the card that I showed, one of the things that they do in the basic step out for bales is put these triangles inside, but I'm not going to do that on this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of shading on each of these in those same areas where we just added a little bit of hatching. So just a little bit, and it'll show up when we start blending it. But I don't want to blend it all the way to the center. We want the center to stay white. Okay, now with my blending step, just smooth that a little bit. I have done a couple of large size opus tiles. I did one that had the patterns for Inktober in it, and that was fun. And then I have another one that's actually 4-inch size tiles done in a mosaic. That was a lot of fun. So be grateful for your art, display it. I think it's fun. Okay, so there's bales. So there we go. That's how I did those patterns. And I hope that helped. Again, let me know what you think. Any suggestions that you might have if you have a certain pattern that you're struggling with that you would like for me to show on one of these tiles, then let me know. And it'll be fun to watch our mosaic and my Dreamcatcher come together. There we go. All right, thanks again. It's Monday. Welcome to the month of May, and I hope you have a great week. Thanks again for being here. See you later. Bye.